Welcome everyone to Aging in Action. And today we're so happy to have as our guest Francine Hebert with Credit Counselling Sudbury. Hi, Francine.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Francine.
There's a lot going on right now and a lot of fear, and people have lost their jobs temporarily, hopefully, due to the COVID crisis. What's happening over in your part of the world?
Yeah, definitely we're getting a lot of phone calls. We're still providing still the same services as before. Even though we don't work at the office, we do our telephone counseling over the telephone. So we call our clients and we still continue on with that service. And at the same time, we'll still do the financial assessment with them, and we'll give them all their options. And of course, all the questions are starting with, okay, I'm unemployed, what do I do? We kind of guide them to basically, where they need to go and navigate them towards all the correct benefits that they can apply for.
So Credit Counselling Sudbury, is that something people have to pay for, or what is the mandate of Credit Counselling Sudbury?
No, we are a nonprofit organization, so there is absolutely no cost to come and see us and talk about their finances. So what we do basically is help individuals with budgeting, money management. We take a look at their whole financial situation. We can help them with setting up a budget, talk about financial coaching to them. Also, we have a lot of individuals that are stuck in that debt load where they don't know how to handle it. They're living paycheck for paycheck. So we'll give them all of their options. What are their rights as a consumer? Give them all that credit education. Another program through the Credit Counselling Sudbury is we have a debt repayment program. And that's another program where for individuals that cannot meet the regular payments to their creditors, they're falling behind, they're in collections, they know they'll never be able to pay out that debt load, or it's going to take them a long time. So with this program, the clients will pay us once a month, and then we pay their debts for them on a reduced payment plan. Oh. Now, most of the creditors will stop the interest to 0% to help them out.
So, that's kind of because they're right now, isn't it?
Yeah, and because they're doing this, it will affect their credit rating. But most of the clients that do enter into that program, their credit rating is already affected, or they know that it will be. Mm-hmm. There's maybe a small cost to that program if the client can afford it. The clients cannot afford it, we do waive it because of being nonprofit. And most of the time, we do waive the fee. So
that's like an alternative. Going bankrupt?
Yes, exactly. It's alternative to bankruptcy or even a consumer proposal, because the difference between the debt repayment program and a consumer proposal or bankruptcy is that if they do have assets, they get to keep their assets. Depending on the client's situation, if they do have assets, they can lose their assets through the bankruptcy or the consumer proposal. So it's alternative to that way of going. Yeah.
I mean, it's so really stressful for people, right?
It is very stressful, yeah.
And sometimes people are afraid to reach out and even talk to somebody about it. They don't want anybody to know that they're in that kind of trouble.
So often we'll have clients come into our office and they're so nervous to talk about their finances, and when they leave our office, they'll just like, oh, we're so glad we came. It's like they didn't think it was like, it's not like talking to a trustee where, they'll automatically say, yes, you're bankrupt. Yes, you've got to do a consumer proposal. At least we give them all of their options so they understand each of these options, how each will affect them, right? Mm-hmm. So, it's a good program. And we've been doing this for probably over 40 years.
So is this something that you would suggest to people right now, especially all those people that have been laid off and have lost their jobs so recently? Would it be smart for them to reach out to you and be proactive in setting up a payment plan or do you have to be, I don't know, at a certain level or something to be able to access your?
No, not at all. Anytime we'll see individuals that are earning like over $100,000, or we can help out a lot of people that are on social assistance. It doesn't matter where you stand at that point in time. Being proactive is very important right now, and to reach out to us so we can, give you all of your options and make sure that you know about all the benefits that is now in place with the government for the COVID-19.
Are you finding, Francine, with individuals in the community that maybe are getting laid off temporarily, maybe there's, because of the COVID-19 situation, are you finding that those clients reaching out are increasing in number?
Like our the clients that are on our debt repayment program right now, they definitely are reaching out if it's been affecting them. So the creditors are being very good at extending payments for 6 months if need be, towards the debt repayment program. We are not getting a whole lot of new clients coming in and calling for appointments yet.
Oh, I was surprised.
I'm sure that will come.
Ask.
Well, maybe
I thought you would have got more calls. Yeah.
No, I'm really surprised. We're not getting a lot of phone calls right now.
Well, maybe people think so that they have to wait till they become in a crisis mode, but I think your service would be great as a proactive measure through this time, even if it's as simple as setting up a budget, because prior to this, you didn't need one, right?
That's right.
Because there's a lot of people out there.
Yeah, we come up with some really great ideas of how, they can look at reducing costs if need be in their monthly expenses, and stuff like that. So we have great ideas and ways of following the budget. We talk about using a cash system instead of debit cards, and using the envelope, the good old fashioned way of using the envelope, or jars.
Well, I think there's still a lot of uncertainty as to what people are going to qualify for some of the government programs. Like there's some that are going to get $2,000 a month, and there's some that are going to be able to access different programs, right? And I think people you're right, Lisette, they do have to reach out now, sooner rather than later, if they're feeling at all panicked by this, right? And put a plan.
I'm actually working on it's like a worksheet schedule, or indicating every single benefits that anyone can qualify with the federal, provincial, and municipal benefits that they're putting in place. So, a few things is even with like the hydro, what hydro is doing for everyone. It's not just the Ontario Electricity Support Program, which we are one intake agency that does that. So anyone that would qualify to have that rebate, we do all the applications for that. And yes, we're doing it online right now or through the phone, and we just mail out the form that they require to sign. But even like Union Energy or Enbridge right now, they're you can go through the United Way to help out with some funding to pay that bill because you're affected by this COVID-19. Taxes, property taxes. I mean, there's a lot that people are probably not aware of. So this worksheet that I'm working on should be complete by the end of this week. I'm getting like a lot of emails and new updates. Like,
say by the end of the week, it might all be different. You never know, right?
I know it changes every day, but yeah, it's getting there.
Well, make sure that you share that with us as well. So
we will, for sure.
Get it out there, and I would like to look at it and see, because it changes every day, and it's tough to keep up, right?
Even for those households where the income really hasn't changed too drastically due to critical services and still being, working each and every day, your cost factors are still going down. If you're working from home, your fuel, right? You're not shopping, your lunches, your parking, your breaks, whatever it might be. You're not shopping for clothes after work. I mean, if you have those excess dollars right now, then put it towards a debt, right?
Yes. And that's bringing out a good point too. Like even with reducing the interest rate. So, I know the banks are always looking to make more money. So I think they're expecting the consumer to spend more because the interest rate is less. But if you're able to reduce the interest rate on your credit cards and, you know, your mortgage or whatever, it's not the time to spend money. It's time to pay down debt.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there hasn't been any announcement with credit card companies reducing their rates. I mean, because I think credit cards are probably the number one thing that gets people, you know, in a financial bind. And a credit card, like, I mean, if you don't start making these huge payments, they just keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, they did reduce the rate a bit. That was I think last week, that was one of the updates from the Canadian Bankers Association. They've reduced the rate. So yeah, they've done that. So
Is that the 0.25 reduction?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, on credit cards, they've reduced the rates, or do you have to ask for that, or?
Oh, they've reduced it all over.
Hey, we need your sheet already.
I know.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, it's hard to find. It's all bits and pieces when you look at social media, right? Here you hear about something, then you hear about it here, and it's nice to have it all in one place to know what is available to somebody who's going through. And we're all going through it in different ways, right? Some people, it's going to be a crisis very soon, and for some people, they're going to be able to ride the wave because they are still working. So,
yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's so, I think people's stress level, I mean, they're worried about their health, they're worried about their parents, they're worried about the kids, and money. We all know that's one of the causes of breakups from families is the money issues, right? And this is going to be, if you're already sort of borderline, this is, it's a crisis.
Put you over the edge, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, it's nice to know that there's an organization out there like yours that is free to the consumer too, because I think a lot of people think that there is no help out there for them, or again, it's that whole pride issue of reaching out for help, and it's, I mean, they know they have to know, they should know that it's confidential and nobody else know your business. It's private, and there's out there. Yeah, no,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, as long as we've been servicing the Sudbury area for over 40 years, there's still a lot of people that don't know that we exist.
Yeah.
Amazingly. Yes.
Well, you hear about bankruptcy, you know, these trustees and bankruptcy and all that, but it's nice to know that there's services available like yours, for sure.
Other alternatives, yeah, for sure. For sure, there's other alternatives.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're not like a business, like a trustee that wants to have their business. You know, we're not getting, not making money off our clients. So it's always better to come and see us before you actually go see a trustee.
Yes.
And if you feel that, you know, there's really no other options, you have to go see a trustee, see what they have to say. We will make that referral for them, or tell them that, you know, you have to look into a consumer proposal or bankruptcy.
Yeah, I mean, it's always better if you can avoid that, but sometimes it is unavoidable, right? And so that's good, but it certainly doesn't cost anything to ask and make that first step, and to see how your organization can help people. And maybe it is just simply putting a budget together and trying to get through the next few months on whatever income sources you have.
Another thing that we're doing, it's been 3 years, is we do income tax clinics for people with lower income.
Okay.
The clinics itself obviously has been canceled, but we are just reopening right now, and we're doing drop-offs.
Okay, that's good.
So for example, for a single person, if your income is $35,000 or less per year, we can do your taxes for free.
Okay.
For a couple, it's $40,000, and then it just adds on as many children that you have. So we're back on doing the taxes. It takes a little bit longer because obviously we have to keep the paperwork in quarantine for 48 hours. We get to work on the taxes, call the clients at the same time. And then we then have to wait 48 hours before the clients can actually sign. We're going to assist them outside our office door where they're going to, as long as we witness that they are signing the paperwork, then we can e-file their returns for them so the benefits can continue on. We're really worried that a lot of people are not going to get their taxes done. I know that the government will still issue them their child tax benefit based on 2018. Same thing with the GST and Trillium. But if we can get this going as soon as possible for them, I think it's better for them.
So just a specific question. So when you say income, so I'm just thinking of a situation. So, you know, you're single now, but you're paying spousal support, let's say. When you say income, does that include, you know, the spousal support payments you're making? Because once you're making spousal support, that's not your income, that's somebody else's income, right? Or does it encompass everything?
Everything.
Okay, so even if you're paying spousal, it would still count as your individual income, so they may or may not qualify for...
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's a different world we're living in. Just when you're talking about that 48 hours for the paper, I hadn't even thought of that, but you're right. But I mean, because of COVID, they say it lives on surfaces, right? And you got to be cautious for yourself as well as the client. So
our clinics were running on Fridays before all this happened, and we were probably completing close to 90 to 100 returns per day.
Wow.
People coming in. Yeah, there's a huge need for that.
well, and some people would be getting a refund, which would certainly help them right now.
Exactly. So that's why we got back on board and we figured out ways of doing it with playing it safe for the client and for the staff at the same time. So
Yeah.
good.
It's good to know, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Francine, for talking with us today, and we'll put your contact information, when we post this, and hopefully there's somebody out there that's listening that, was too embarrassed, or maybe they don't think that they should start yet. They're not at a crisis point, but maybe they can just start the process and reach out for help.
Mm-hmm. Another that we're just before we, I don't know if we're ending soon or not, but we also help newcomers.
Oh, right, because that must be very, they must feel like totally lost at the whole process and everything here.
Yeah, with their taxes. And what happens is when they were immigrating into Canada, if they had children, they had to register their children with CRA to be able to access the child tax benefit. They weren't told that. So we have to do the application. Well, not we have to, but we're noticing that they're not getting their child tax benefit. What's going on? And then that's when we found out that they would have had to register their children with CRA. So now we're doing all the applications for them, which is like 3 pages long, so they can get all their arrears on their child tax credit, because they've been living without that for over a year for some of them.
Oh my goodness, so that is helpful for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there's so much information available to people, but sometimes they just don't know who to ask.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much again for participating in this. And like I say, we'll post all your information, and
I'll share that spreadsheet with you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, please.
We're gonna try to put it on our website also, so I'll let you know about it.
Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot. Take care.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks for the information.
Thank you. Yes,
No
for
problem.
Thanks, Francine.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.